Hi, everybody, again. I found this book. I thought this was interesting. We just had this the change of the clocks, so I thought, let's check this book out and see if it's any good. This one's called "For Fall Forward, Spring Back." At 8 years old, Nola O'Connor had already been late so many times. She figured she'd go on that way forever. She'd be late for her first job, her college graduation, her wedding. It didn't seem to matter much, but if the groom liked her enough, he would wait. The summer after Nola finished second grade, her family moved from Arizona to Colorado. The move brought new friends, a new school, and a new home. But one thing did not change. Nola was still late for everything. The first Friday in November, Nola's teacher sent the class home with a reminder that daylight saving time ended that weekend. Before you go to bed Saturday night, remember to adjust your clocks an hour, he said. Spring forward, fall back. And if you like parades, don't forget the Fall Festival on Sunday. Nola had never witnessed the parade. Her friend said the Fall Festival parade had awe-inspiring floats, animals, live music, and dancers on stilts. She really wanted to see that parade. That night at dinner, Nola asked her mom if they could go to the parade. Well, I won't be there, Mom reminded her, but I'll bet Pablo could take you. Pablo was Nola's big brother, 16 and always sleepy. He would be in charge while their mom was away. Can you take me to the parade, Nola asked Pablo. There'll be floats. Root beer floats? Pablo asked. Nola laughed, and so did Mom. The parade's at 10 o'clock, Nola said. We have to change our clocks so we don't miss it. That's right, Mom said. You never have to change your clocks before. Unlike most states, Arizona didn't observe daylight saving time, so Nola had never thought much about it. She thought about it now, though. I don't really get it, she confessed. Are we actually saving daylight or just moving it around? Moving it around, Mom said. In November, people in states that observe daylight saving time set their clocks back an hour so the sun rises earlier in the morning, or seems to, and sets earlier in the evening. In March, they do just the opposite, and the sun sets later. Crazy stuff, Pablo said. And then there's this little thing at the bottom. It says, why save daylight? Many countries use a daylight saving program during their warmer months when the days are longer. Why bother? In order to conserve energy. By moving the clock ahead an hour during these months, sunlight lasts longer into the evening. On Saturday morning, their mom kissed them both goodbye, got in the car, and drove to the airport. That night, as Nola got in bed, she thought back to her teacher's instructions. Spring forward, fall back. Or was it fall forward, spring back? Nola hesitated. Fall forward sounded better. So she set her clock forward an hour. Just like that, she shaved an hour off the day. Now it was past her bedtime. Late again. Time, Nola sighed, is not my friend. Nola overslept the next morning. When she woke, her clock said 10:15. She rustled her brother out of bed, and they ran over to Grand Avenue. When they reached it, though, no crowd greeted them, no floats, no marching bands. Were they late that they missed the parade entirely? Nola hung her head in dismay. They turned around and headed home. But back on their street, they spotted something. It was neighbor Frank climbing around next to a gigantic, bright orange something. Could this be a float? They walked over for a closer inspection. It was a float, an 8-foot pumpkin set up on a trailer. Frank turned and saw them standing there. He lit up like a jack-o'-lantern. The early bird gets the worm, he cried. Nola and Pablo looked at each other. Pablo had never been early for anything in his life either. "Climb on up here, Sonny, and give me a hand with this wrench," shouted Frank. "You too, Missy." They climbed up beside the oversized pumpkin, and Frank put them to work. For more than an hour, Pablo hammered. Nola glued orange tissue paper in place. They arranged giant fake leaves and vines around the giant fake pumpkin. When they were done, the float looked fantastic. "So," Pablo said at last, "I guess you're all ready for next year's parade." Frank looked confused. "Next year?" he cried. "When you're my age, Sonny, you don't have to plan for next year. Put your seatbelts on. We've got a parade to get to." Just then, Nola and Pablo heard the first notes of a marching band. They blinked in confusion. "Wait a minute," Nola said. "Wasn't the parade at 10 o'clock today?" "Was at 10, Frank cried. "We'll be there at 10 is more like it." He thrust his wristwatch towards them. Pablo yawned. "Your watch says 9:30, he said. Nola laughed for joy. "I fell forward," she said. "I needed to fall back." Nola had sprung forward an hour when everybody else had fallen back an hour. That meant she and Pablo were now 2 hours ahead of everybody else. For once in their lives, they were early. "You woke me up 2 hours early," Pablo cried. "The early bird gets the worm," Nola cried. Frank nodded. "You got it now, Missy," he said. Pablo just yawned. It was all a big mistake, but it turned out to be a great mistake. It's why they rode in the parade on Frank's giant pumpkin float, and why they've ridden with Frank every year since. It's also why, from that day to this, Nola O'Connor had made sure to be early for everything. 2 minutes early, though, not 2 hours. As you can see, later on, she got married, and on time. The end. Hope you enjoyed that. See you soon.